Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Elite Academy video. So today's topic is gonna be amazing. I mean, all my videos are amazing. I like to think so. And shout out to those of you that have been reaching out to me, showing me love, showing me support. Believe it or not, guys, you guys make me continue basically doing these videos. I feel that if I can at least help one person in life, I did something right. Because without your guys' motivation, you guys are an inspiration to me. You guys inspire me. Basically reaching out to me, letting me know that my videos help you is something that, even if it's one person, man, I've had one person that at one time I didn't want to make a video, and that one person completely switched my day around and said, you know what, I'm gonna go and make another video. I want to get into this topic because this is a question that I had to ask myself at some point in my life. And if you're seeking self-employment, you're going from a W-2 job, 9-to-5 job, to being self-employed. You might be starting your business. It doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing. You can be selling brownies on the corner of a street or corn. You can be selling freaking t-shirts. You can be selling, it doesn't matter. You can be running a nail salon, a strip club. It doesn't matter. You're gonna have to ask yourself this particular question at some point in your life. And this is a very, very, very sensitive topic to a lot of you. It was a very sensitive topic to me when that question came along. What is that question? It's right here. Should I go all in? Doesn't sound like a very big question, but for those of you that are already, and real estate is one of those questions where you really have to ask yourself that question. And it's just one of those things like, hey, is it time for me to go all in? Is it time for me to basically put all eggs in one basket for now? It's a scary thought for a lot of you. Why? Because obviously a lot of you guys are very reliant on the 9-to-5 job because you might not have any other income. That might be the only source of income that you have. So it's very scary to let go of that steady income and go from basically making this much money every single week to probably making nothing. That should scare you. Okay, so you do have to follow, and I didn't even write that down. Here we go. 8 steps. Okay, there might be more. You might want to probably add on to them, whatever, it doesn't matter. But these are personal steps that I had to take to go from to self-employed. Okay, I've had a lot of jobs in my past. From the moment that I turned 15, from the moment that I found out that I was having a kid, guys, I got my ass to work. Okay, I went straight. And for those of you that don't know, I worked at Boathouse, I worked at Grimway, I've worked in the fields, I've done seasons in the fields. I still have contacts with people in the fields, and people don't believe me when I say that because they're just seeing this, right? But at some point in my life, I had to ask myself that question. I washed cars for a living. I fed my family by washing cars. I got a job washing cars to be able to do what I had to do. To backtrack a little bit about my life, when I was 17, I decided to pursue the career of real estate, okay? I decided to basically look into real estate. I thought it was a great way to make money. And I said, okay, I'm gonna try this out. So 17 and a half came. I lost my job. Okay, I didn't have a job, and this was a job that I had in the fields. Obviously, for those of you that know how the fields work, it's not the most steadiest thing. You're switching from contractor to contractor to contractor. You're working one day doing grapes, you might go to carrots, you might go to something different. There's always a different job. I got sick of it. Apart from that, I mean, I didn't want to do it anymore. It was just, I decided not to do that. So I was without a job, but I did want to start real estate. I knew I wanted to do something with my life. So when I decided to pursue the career of real estate, obviously you need money to be able to start taking classes. You're always going to need some sort of capital, whether it's nothing, something, maybe very little, whatever the case is, you're always going to need some capital, right? So my initial startup to take my real estate courses to basically be able to start up was $300. Okay, I don't know if that's changed now, but to be able to get my license at that time was $300. I had $300 saved, so I went, I paid for the courses, and I started. But I didn't have a job. When I finished my classes, I was basically at that state where I was like, okay, I finished my classes. Now the next step is to take my state exam. In order for me to take my state exam, I needed to pay for something we call a combo package in real estate. That combo package is anywhere from, I think it's like 315 bucks. Unfortunately, at that time, $315 was a lot to me. It's a whole paycheck, right? So I had to get a job. Shout out to my cousin Gio. Shout out to my old manager, Tony, which both are on social media. Shout out to you guys because yes, because of my cousin, I was able to get that job washing cars. It meant the world to me. Why? Because I used my 9-to-5 job as a vehicle to my next destination. My next destination was real estate. I knew getting into that job that was gonna be a steady source of income for a very limited amount of time. I wasn't gonna do that forever. I knew that. I got into that for this specific reason. So when I got into it, I ended up being able to have enough money to take my state exam and whatnot. I did have to borrow money from time to time because obviously I had my bills. I had about $1,700 every single month in expenses at that time at 18 years old that I had to spend on for my family because at that point I had 2 kids already. A lot of my check would go to the bills, but I would save on the side as much as I could, enough to be able to take my state exam. I took it, I finally passed it, I got my real estate license, and that's when everything started. I got my license and I'm like, okay, something's going, I'm getting everything moving. And you guys know that when you get your license, that's not it. There's realtor fees. You have to pay what we call dues. In Bakersfield, to be a part of the association that we have here, at that time I had to pay $600. So I had to save $600. I went to work every single day with the motivation of saving $600 because keep in mind, I had $1,800 in expenses. $600 took me about 2 months to save. Save those $600, officially became part of the board of realtors, and guess what, guys? I was officially fully licensed. I was beginning to start my self-employed career. Here's the problem. When you start something, it doesn't matter what it is. I'll say it again. You can be selling corn, you can be selling brownies, you can be doing anything. If you start a business, it's gonna need attention, okay? And you're kind of giving attention to basically your 9-to-5 job, which is working on somebody else's dreams, your business is gonna suffer. So that's exactly what happened with me. My business suffered. Obviously, you guys can already imagine. I've told you guys this before. My first year in real estate, I closed 4 deals. I ate like shit, guys. And I'll get into that in a minute. These 8 steps, by the way, they're gonna be super quick. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of write them down really quick. It's not gonna take forever. This is the part that I want you guys to pay attention to. My business needed a lot of attention. I wasn't giving it attention. So obviously, guys, for those of you that are in real estate as well, you know that you get what you put into this business. If you give 20%, you're getting 20%, probably less, and a slap in the face because you ain't getting anything. You're going to work 2 to 3 hours every single day on your passion. You're not getting anything. I promise you guys, okay? That was a mistake I made. So I started realizing that. And that's when this question came in. Should I go all in? So here are the 8 steps that I had to go through and analyze with time. And I'm giving you guys these 8 steps right now because I wish somebody would have told me this. I wish somebody would have said, hey, Anthony, these are the things that you want to prep for before you go all in. So before you decide you want to go all in, you got to make sure that you have all these 8 steps written down. And if you got more, add them on. Here we go. Number 1, something that I had to do, pros and cons. That's for everything. I'm a huge believer in legitimately sitting down and writing down your pros and your cons. What are the pros? What are the cons? Am I really passionate about my career? Is this something that I can see myself doing for the rest of my life? Because fellas, I'm telling you right now, if you're going for that business opportunity and you're gonna go all in and it's not your passion, you might as well just give your money away right now and just file for bankruptcy because it's not gonna work. You gotta make sure you're passionate about that career option that you're choosing, that self-employment business that you're taking. It doesn't matter. You have to be passionate. You lay out the pros and the cons, okay? You'll know what I'm talking about when you start deciding to do that. Number 2, in order for you to go all in, like I mentioned, obviously your current 9-to-5 job right now might be all you got. It might be your source of income. And obviously, ultimately, a lot of you guys have families that are relying on you. So you don't want to make them suffer too much. Let me repeat that. You don't want to make them suffer too much. I'll tell you guys what I mean by that in a minute, okay? In order for you to feel a little bit more confident, you need to have at least 3 to 6 months of reserves. Everybody's expenses are different. Your expenses are not the same as mine. My expenses are not the same as my uncle's. My expenses are different, okay? You need to calculate what those expenses are, and if you can survive on 3 to 6 months on reserves. Some of you can survive on 3, some of you can survive on 6, depending on the type of business that you have. Okay, in real estate, you guys know that it takes anywhere from 1 to 3 months to get your first paycheck when you're a brand new agent. And guys, believe me, that statistic is true. It took me 4 months to get my first paycheck. But when the money comes, it comes. Number 3. This is a huge one. They're all huge, but minimize. And guys, I'm not a professional. My handwriting sucks, all right? Minimize your expenses. If you got credit cards, if you have, I don't know, something that you're about to finish paying off, maybe you got some loans, maybe you got some utilities that you don't need, like in terms of Wi-Fi. I mean, well, you need Wi-Fi, everybody needs Wi-Fi, but you know what I'm trying to say. Minimize those expenses, pay off as much as you can on that debt. You don't want to go out and get a freaking car or co-sign a car for your wife, or you don't want to do that if you know damn well you're about to go all into your business, okay? Because if you're trying to minimize your expenses, the reason for that is because you want to make sure you're cutting back as much as you can, because your focus is going to be on your business. You don't want to focus on paying a freaking car. You don't want to focus on high balance credit cards. You don't want to go into collections. You want to minimize that. Guys, I had freaking 100 collection agencies after my ass. I did. Why? Because obviously it's just one of those things where I didn't set up properly. So I'm trying to set you guys up properly. Number 4 is a very, very, very important one. You got, let me say this. Man, I don't even know how to spell either. No handwriting, no spelling. Can you tell I didn't graduate? No, I graduated. I'm just kidding. 9 to 5 mentality. Guys, I can't stress that enough. If you're going from a 9 to 5 mentality to self-employed, that is a very difficult transition to make. Number 1, because I say this in all my previous videos. If you haven't watched them, go watch them, okay? You got to get rid of that 9 to 5 mentality. You're not going in from 9 to 5. You got to realize that in your business, because a lot of people get into the self-employment because they want to be their own boss. They want to make their own time. They want to come in whenever they want. They don't want anybody calling their phone. But that self-discipline has to come from you. And you got to change that 9 to 5 mentality, because I promise you it won't work. If you're coming in from 9 to 5, it's not going to work. Sometimes you got to be there from 9 to 9. Sometimes you got to be there from 9 to 12. I've busted 16-hour days before. Did I get paid for them? Not at that moment, but it pays off. Number 5, and this is a huge one, and I'll make a separate video on just this a little later on. Patience. You're going to have to understand that for these next 3 to 6 months, you're going to have a lot of patience. This requires a lot of patience. And what do I mean by that? Patience in terms of you're not going to get paid probably for the first 3 to 6 months, depending on the business. Disclaimer, depending on the business. Right now, I am being a little biased towards real estate side of things because that's what I grew up in, and that's basically what my experience comes from. Don't expect any sort of money for 3 to 6 months. Don't chase the bag, chase the passion. Number 6. This is very important, okay? This is something that I had to learn beginning of last year. Man, because when taxes came, I got Uncle Sam came banging on my door. He come knocking on my door. But anyway, set yourself up with a business account. Okay, when you're going into self-employment, you have to realize that no one is going to take money out of your checks. So you have to be responsible, and you have to be self-disciplined enough to set yourself up with a business account. When you get paid and you get $10,000, you have to realize that $10,000 is not yours. You have to be responsible. You have to track expenses. You have to track all receipts. And the way you're going to be doing that, instead of saving receipts like everybody tells you to, you might have heard, oh, save all your receipts, save all your receipts. You don't have to if you have a business account. I mean, if you want to do it the old school way, that's fine. It's reliable. If you want to freaking file this big of receipts, go ahead. But a very smart way of doing it is having a specific business account separate from your personal account. Okay, this is only specifically for business expenses. Out of that business account, that's where you will pay yourself. Okay, a portion of that $10,000 as an example. So just up here, I don't know if you guys can see this, but if you get $10,000, the way that you have to do it in business, and we've been taught to do this. A lot of you guys might have seen some videos from Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry. I don't know who's the one that does this, but I think it's a brilliant idea. It's called the 33% rule. 33% of that 10,000 goes for taxes, 33% of that 10,000 goes towards your business, and 33% of that goes to you, meaning that you get to keep only 33% of that $10,000. It's a bummer, I know, but that's just the way it is. It creates some sort of savings account for you if you do it. Number 7. This is a huge one. I've been saying that for all of them because I know that they're huge, but you're gonna need a lot of support. If you don't have people that support your business, that they don't support your dreams, your goals, they don't support you in general, you gotta get rid of them. It doesn't matter who it is. And I'm sorry, and I know it sounds rude as hell. It can be your mom, it can be your sister, it can be your brother, it can be your best friend, it can be your girlfriend, it can be your wife. If they don't support or believe in your dreams as much as you do, time to toot it and boot it. I'm just playing. But you know what I'm saying, right? Number 8. And this is the last one. I don't know why I capitalized R, so I'm just gonna capitalize everything else. Sacrifice. This is the last one. Why do I say sacrifice? Well, guys, there's a lot of sacrifice in this. You're gonna have to understand that for the first 3 to 6 months, you're gonna eat nothing but beans and rice. You're gonna have to cut back on a lot of things that you guys are used to doing. You might be used to going to the movies every week, might be used to going out to eat a lot, you might be used to buying yourself some clothes, but you're gonna have to sacrifice for sure. And you know, the sad part, I wouldn't say sad part, but the part that kind of hurts you the most is the fact that you know that when you sacrifice something, you as maybe you're the head of household, maybe you're not, it doesn't matter, but when you sacrifice something, sometimes your family hurts from it. In my position that I was in, my family hurt from it. Why? Because if my income stopped, my family didn't eat. I didn't put food on that fridge. I didn't pay my light bill. I had my light bill disconnected many times. My water bill got disconnected many times. I've been without electricity and water for 2 weeks at a point in my life. The worst pain that I've ever felt in my life. But I knew I was doing everything for a reason, okay? It's not easy. You will cry. You will sweat. You will suffer. You will experience anxiety. If you haven't experienced anxiety, you're gonna experience that, okay? And quite frankly, you might go through depression, right? You might not. I went through depression. Why? Because it was a very, very difficult for me to transition from 9 to 5 to being self-employed to basically saying, should I go all in? Now, guys, just to finish off the video, if you feel that you have accomplished all of these steps, not necessarily accomplished, but you understand these next 8 steps and whatever else you decide to add on, you have to understand that you are ready to go all in. It's the scariest moment in the world when you say, hey, thank you guys so much for the opportunity. I decided that I'm gonna chase my passion. I decided that I'm gonna go 100%, 110% into my career, into what I believe that I'm passionate about. Because again, you don't want to work for somebody, giving them all the attention for their dream instead of focusing on yours. Ask yourself these 8 steps, and once you do, you talk to yourself, should I go all in? I say you do. Go all in. Make sure that you're mentally and emotionally ready to go all in. If you feel that you are, I'm a high risk taker. I've always been a high risk taker. Since I was a kid, I've always taken risks. One of the risks that I took in myself is that I went all in without doing half of this shit. Am I saying that you guys will fail if you don't do all of this? No. This is just basically to better prepare you. You can make it, okay? Because when I decided to go all in, this is what I mean by being a high risk taker. I decided to go all in because I was betting on myself. Read this phrase, should I go all in? Not should Pete go all in. You're talking about you. Are you willing to bet on yourself? Are you willing to bet that you can defy the odds? And if you can, if you're 110% confident, then go for it. You don't even need to do all these steps. Ignore everything I just told you. If you truly, truly, truly believe it though. I thought I did. And guys, I ate shit for the first year. My family did too, unfortunately. I love you guys. Everything that I do now is for my family. Like my mentor said, he loves real estate, but he loves his family more. I can honest to God say the same thing. I love real estate, but I love my family more. You should say that to yourself. You love your career. You gotta love your family more, depending on who you are, right? Why? Because you're doing this for your family in the first place, more than likely, unless you're greedy, okay? So anyways, guys, that's gonna wrap up my video. I appreciate you guys. Truly means a lot when you guys reach out to me and basically, you know, tell me how much I inspire you guys. Tell me how much you guys, even if it's 5, 6, 7 of you guys, and that audience has been growing a lot lately. I've been getting a lot of messages in my Facebook and Instagram, and I've been getting a lot of people reach out to me, which makes me feel great because it feels like I am doing what I'm supposed to do, and that's basically educating you guys through my life experience and basically through what I have picked up over the years. Making some more videos. This here, when I talk about personal things, this is my Elite Academy series. This is basically something that it's some sort of mentorship, I guess you can take, right? Ask yourself that question. If you feel that you have the 8 steps, then you need to go all in. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. Comment below what you guys want to see maybe in the future, or you can private message me. Either or works fine. And stay tuned until the next one.